Berto, how are you this morning?
I am doing fine, sir. Talk to me.
A couple of weeks ago, you had the guy. He runs they picket John Cornyn's office every Tuesday.
You're talking about Neil Aquino.
I really disagree with a lot of stuff he said. He was spewing hate, like he was calling the Republicans Nazis, and all sorts of nasty stuff.
Let me tell you where I stand. First of all, Jeff, and I try to impart this in the way I come across. I respect everybody, and notice what I told you earlier about, or I said earlier on this show. You are my brother. I consider everybody my brother and sister, whether you're Republican, MAGA, or whatever you are. Okay, there are a lot of folks in our hyper partisan state as we are right now that kind of do that. I am trying to get away from that, and I'm trying to show people how to get away from that. In fact, that's what we spoke about yesterday at the Unitarian Universalist Church, about engaging with everybody, listening to everybody, and seeing where they're coming from. So my question to you is, why did you have an interaction directly with Neil Aquino, or you had a problem with what he actually said?
Well, what he said. I mean, we're all trying to get through this world,
yes,
without a bunch of hate. And when he starts spewing that, it just
it turned you off.
Yes.
Let me try to turn you back on to just, being engaging with everybody. Look, in my life here as an American citizen, I've gone through hell and I've gone through heaven in one country. Okay. And what I've learned to do is concentrate on the heaven. And I'm just using metaphorically because I don't believe in either one. But, a lot of people do. But anyhow, you're talking to me now. So tell me what you want to tell me about who you are and what you want to talk about.
Well, the Social Security thing is, we can talk about that for a minute. I know that's your main subject today.
Yes.
I think the government is, that's always been a little treasure trove for them to use it where they want to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that needs to stop.
Most of us, when we pay taxes or whatever kind of taxes they are, we don't personally know how those taxes are used, etc. But we are told by other interests, whether it be on the left side or the right side, we talk about those taxes and we tell you how to think about those taxes. Now, my question to you is, why do you assume that this Social Security is just something the government is taking to misuse?
They keep on saying it's busted. People keep on putting in. And I understand that there's withdrawals on it, but they need to adjust that part of it, to offset the withdrawals. But, I worry about myself in 5 years. They've always thrown that out there the last 20 years that it's going to be non-existent in 10 years, 5 years.
So can I ask you another question then? I get that. Are you a Republican, sir?
Yes, I am.
Right now, the Republican orthodoxy is to privatize Social Security, or a portion of Social Security. I want to make sure and be factual. A portion of Social Security to throw that money into the markets to somehow gain more. That's their proposal, to save Social Security. Put some of the money into the private sector with the expectation that they can do better in the stock market, notwithstanding that the stock market can go up and down. And not only that, but I'll tell you why it's a false choice, and then keep some. The progressive, the neoliberal is to just leave things the way they are and just fix it here and there. And the progressives, which are now caucusing with the Democrats, I consider myself a progressive. What we want to do is make all income, whether it's capital gains or all income, taxable. And in doing so, all our Social Security taxes will go down, and we can actually get more, all of us, from Social Security. And it's not robbing Peter at all, because, again, if all of us pay a certain percentage on our income, why should the billionaires, when they own more than the billionaires and the high income millionaires, they own more than 50% of the wealth. The top 1% own more than 50% of the wealth. So why? And again, that is really your work. The wealth that they have isn't something that they did. You're an employee. Are you working, sir?
Oh, yes.
All the wealth that you see these fat cats want, that caucus with your party, they're making that wealth on your back as they have you struggle for Social Security, as they have you struggle for income. That is what I'm trying to get. I'm not trying to change you from being a Republican. I'm trying to change you to vote for people that are going to serve you. You see what I'm saying?
I see where you're going.
But first of all, do you believe what I just said?
I don't believe about the fat cat. I mean,
which one you don't believe?
Corporate. No, I don't. You know, I think that there's always going to be a rich class.
Why is that, sir? Let me back up. Why? Again, you know, we make a lot of blank statements, and a lot of the blank statements we make is because we've been indoctrinated from elementary school, and we have all these sayings we say. There's always going to be rich people. Why is that?
You do want a socialist country where everybody...
Wait, what does a socialist country mean?
Well, like Cuba.
Again, let me ask you a question, right? What if I want to scare you and scare a lot of Americans, right? All I have to say is, do you want to be Cuba or Venezuela? And we want to define. And first of all, I didn't use the word socialist, right? You did. I didn't. But you did. I want a system that works, and it's not capitalism, because capitalism doesn't have a heart, right? It's not capitalism, but I didn't mention the word socialism. I could tell you all the things that I want to see in our society, and I would guarantee that you agree with me. But at the same time, many of us allow people on the outside to say, that is socialism. It's something that you want. Like, let's go down the list. Let's go down the list. As an exercise, Jeff, because I want America to hear this, because we are brothers. I want America to hear this. Wouldn't you like to have a healthcare system where you have a card and you go into your doctor's office? You don't have to figure out health insurance companies, what they offer, what they don't, etc. That if you need healthcare, there is enough in this system that's going to give you the healthcare to make you well. Wouldn't you like to see that?
Well, I've got a card that I can go in and insurance card, and it takes care of me.
But I'm saying most Americans don't. If you have health insurance that you can go in and get all the services you need without having to go through an insurance company and having to figure out what's covered and what's not covered, you're better than 99% of Americans. And maybe you are, but wouldn't you like that for all Americans?
Well, I would probably say yes, but I'm gonna.
Okay, that's all I want, sir. I mean, let's not talk about the money yet. Let's not talk about the money yet, because I'm going to get there. I promise you, I'm going to get there. Wouldn't you like? You want most Americans who are able-bodied to be able to go out there and work. Is that correct?
Yes, I do want that.
Okay, and in order for a family to be able to go out and work, you want them to earn a wage that they can take care of making sure their kids, while they're working, have daycare, make sure that all these things are that they are covered so that they can be productive citizens in America. Isn't that something that you would want?
So you're saying free daycare?
I'm not saying free daycare. I'm saying affordable daycare. In other words, we should have a system where if you want to work, and everybody should want to work, that if they have kids, that the kids wouldn't be the thing that stops them from working. Because we want to have kids. We are a family-loving country.
Yeah.
Good.
My question to you is, isn't that a part of being personally responsible? If you
here's a problem with that. Let me give you an example. Let's say because of circumstances, I had to work at a McDonald's that only pays minimum wage. And let's say McDonald's decided to go with a living wage, which is, let's say, $17 an hour. It's actually more than that. It's more like $21, but let's call it $17. But at that cost, even if I have one kid, I couldn't easily afford rent that kid and putting that kid into daycare, at the same time pay the crazy prices for gasoline to go to work. It just doesn't work. So personal responsibility is one thing. Having an economic system that allows you to be personally responsible is another thing. And I'm saying we can have all of that if we don't have an economic system that screws us all, including screwing you. And I'll explain how it screws you as well a little bit later. But isn't that something that you would want, sir?
Well, I would personally look, and I would wait until I'm ready to financially working my way up. you're talking about people that are having kids at like 18 or 19.
But what I'm saying, sir, is people, we also don't want abortions and that sort of thing. So, you know, somebody may have sex at 18 and get pregnant. They could have been personally responsible and had an accident, right? I'm
gonna throw a wrench into your thing about being a Republican. I'm pro-abortion.
I know, but you know, I could hear in your voice that you were actually you're a thinker. Okay, so I have no problem you calling yourself Republican or whatever you want to call yourself. I asked you a few questions, and I could go down a whole laundry list of things that progressives believe in and that we can afford, and I can show you why we can afford it, and I can show you where the plutocrats are gouging us, and that we have people with Stockholm Syndrome supporting these guys and saying, hey, there is a better way. I wrote a book called How to Make America Utopia and Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It. And the reason I wrote that book wasn't because I'm some crazy pinko liberal, which I am. I'm actually a progressive, I prefer to use. But because it's what most Americans want. That's all, Jeff. That's all. No more, no less. Anything else you want to say?
I want to close this out by saying everybody should be responsible for their lives. The government should not be responsible for your lives.
Well, before you go, I know you got to go, but I want to remind you one important factor there. The one thing that the right has done is to disassociate government from we the people. Remember, government must be we the people. And if government is we the people, we cannot say we can't have government do for us, because we'll be saying we can't have us do for us.
With you on that one.
We talk later, brother.
All right, Egberto, I gotta run.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.